Hey guys, what's up? I'm Joanna, or some people call me Jayco or Joe, or my best friend calls me Joey Girl, my mom calls me Asha. Call me whatever you want. Either way, if it's your first time seeing me, nice to meet you. Before I start ranting, I just want to show you guys the cutest Halloween decorations in the world. How cute, they're little skeletons and they're doing yoga. Or they're meditating. Either way, I'm happy for them. This is not my first YouTube video, but this is my first of this type of video where I just kind of sit and talk to the camera. I have filmed these types of videos before, but I've never posted them because I was too insecure. I normally only post vlogs on this channel. However, I want to switch it up. I do love making vlogs and I will continue to vlog things, but vlogs are something I only like to do when something super memorable is happening in my life and I want to document it. I started vlogging to document my cheerleading competitions, and then I really like doing it and I thought that maybe this would be a vlog channel, but then I started doing Vlogmas, which if you don't know what Vlogmas is, it's when you vlog every single day in December leading up until Christmas. And I think I got until like day 8 or something like that, and then I just completely stopped doing it. Because when I'm not passionate about something, it's very hard for me to do it. And I found with those videos that I was just kind of trying to find something to do, anything to do, so that I would have some sort of content for the video. And I wasn't living my truth, and that's not what we're doing. And that is actually the theme of this video, is finding my purpose in life and living my truth. And I'm gonna talk about that today. Whew. So, I have noticed that within the past couple years of my life, I have had quite the turnaround and emotional roller coaster when it comes to my mental health. I've had this kind of drawn out epiphany within the past couple of years that I wasn't living my life with a purpose. And I realized that when I was making those Vlogmas videos, I was like, am I even living my life with a purpose, or am I doing things for show? Which is kind of a deep question to ask yourself. For me specifically, it has a lot to do with theater, because I went to college for theater. My entire life, the two things that I cared about most were theater and cheerleading. Those were the two things that always consumed my life. And so when I went to college and I had to decide what I wanted to major in, I was like, well, you know, drama class is my favorite class. It's the only one of my subjects that I really truly relate to, and I can't major in cheerleading, so theater it is. And I wanted to do something that I would love to do for the rest of my life, so it just seemed like the obvious option for me. And you know, when you're 17, choosing a college and choosing a major, there's so much pressure because you feel like you have to have your life figured out, and you really don't. If you're 17, I mean, if you're in that senior age group, or if you're just applying for colleges, you really don't have to have everything figured out. That's what college is for. College is for figuring things out. It's for learning, it's for growing. It's not the end-all be-all, especially like with having two immigrant parents who switched countries so that their kids could have a better life and better opportunities for them. You know, it was a lot of pressure, but I kind of just went with my gut, and my gut at the time was telling me, do what you love, and for me that meant theater. So I went to two different colleges. I went to a community college first for 2 years, and then I went to Brooklyn College for their BFA acting program for 3 years, because that's how long the program is. And I need to preface this with saying that I don't regret it at all. I learned so much in those years, and it completely changed me and transformed me as a person. It made me more empathetic. It made me more vulnerable. If you've ever been in an acting program, you know how taxing it is. You know, you know what you have to go through to be emotionally available and vulnerable at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I went to that first college. I majored in performing arts. Acting was the thing that I wanted to focus on. I had some dance history, no singing history, but performing arts kind of covers all three of those aspects of performance. And acting obviously only concentrates on acting, so that's what I wanted to do. So when I was transferring schools, I was looking for a school where I can major in acting. I also wanted to make sure that wherever I transferred, I can get back into cheerleading, because I thought that after high school I would never cheer again, and I really missed it. So, and I kept, like, my heart kept calling for it, so I decided to cheer again. And I found a school that has both an amazing acting program and an amazing cheerleading team in Brooklyn. So I applied, I auditioned, I worked on my monologues for so long. I remember there was like 4 essays I had to write for the application process. I started working out so that I could try out for the cheer team, get back into shape. I was working out like every single day, working out, stretching, and then studying my monologues in between. And I worked so hard and I made it. I got into the school. I was so happy. I remember I literally screamed at the top of my lungs when I got that acceptance letter. I was so nervous at the audition. So I got in, I started my acting classes, and it was really hard. I was on campus like almost every single day. I was on campus from 8 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night because I would have class and then I would have rehearsals for like my classes, and then I would have another class, and then I would rehearse again, and then I would go to practice, and then I would be on campus. I would get out of practice at like 10 p.m. and then I would travel the 2 hours home and then come back in the morning and do it all over again, and then the games on Fridays, and then practice on Saturdays, and then I would work on the weekends. So like really my schedule was 24/7. I was barely sleeping, which really caused me to slack in my schoolwork. So after my first semester, I was put on academic probation in my acting program, and I had to have a meeting with the head of the program every 2 weeks and like talk about my classes and what I'm doing basically to improve, and if I need help with anything and all this stuff. And I'm so thankful for those meetings because having all of those conversations is exactly what I needed. I remember in one of those meetings, she asked me, why do I love theater? And I said, well, I love performing. And she asked me to dig deeper. She's like, okay, but why? Why, like, what is it that you love doing? And it really, like, it was hard for me to come up with an answer. And when it came down to it, I realized it was because I loved storytelling and I loved being a voice for people who may not have had their voice heard. So I continued in this program, you know, my grades got better and then they got worse and they got a lot better. I remember I was having a meeting with one of my professors after class one day to apologize for being late, and I was talking to him about how like I don't know if I should continue cheerleading, and I was like crying hysterically. How I don't know if I should continue cheerleading because it's really taking a toll on me. And like my coach used to always tell us, like, you're a student athlete, you're a student first and an athlete second. And like that was always in my head. I'm like, you know, and like should I not be cheering right now? Should I really focus on my grades? And I'm like, no, I can do this. And I kept pushing myself because I just really wanted to prove everyone wrong that I can do both. Cheerleading, it just always came so naturally to me. I kind of like knew what I wanted out of it. I knew what I can contribute to it. Every single time it just always made sense in my life. And theater was something that I loved so much that I wanted it to be a part of my life, but it was for all the wrong reasons. And I remember like I always felt a sort of imposter syndrome when I was in theater, not because of everyone else. Like that's the thing about the theater community, is like it's probably one of the most accepting communities in the world. So all of that acceptance made my headspace kind of even fuzzier. Kind of like it is now. What am I trying to say? My senior year, how do I say this? Without getting too deep into the story, there was a lot of changes in my cheer life my senior year. My coaches were no longer there. There was a lot of changes in the cheer program, and I kind of felt like I was falling out of love with cheerleading, which was heartbreaking to me because I was so excited about my senior year, and like it was supposed to be like my last shebang, you know what I mean? I think it was like 2 months into the start of the cheer season, I decided to quit. It was like 2 or 3 months or something like that. It broke my heart. I was crying like every single day. I felt like a huge part of me was just like torn to shreds. And that's when I realized that cheerleading was a part of my identity and all of the things that it's taught me, and that there was a part of me that just knew I wasn't finished, and like my heart was just still longing for it. Like I still wanted to do it. I knew I had so much left to do, so much left to prove, even though at that point I had already had a great cheerleading career. I felt like there was just so much left for me to give, and I wanted to give more. But I kind of took that opportunity of, you know, kind of like falling out of love with cheerleading and used that as an excuse to focus on my acting. And I'm like, you know what, maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Maybe this is what I needed. It's my senior year. I can put all my focus into acting, see what that's like. And I think that lasted about 2 months. My former coaches started an all-star program, Iconic Cheerlead, and I joined it. At first I kind of just like dipped my toe in the water. I was like helping them out with their opening, and I was like, wait, like maybe this is what I needed. Maybe this is the stars aligning for me. So I got back into cheerleading. It wasn't as demanding as college cheer was, because with college cheer I think we were practicing like 4 to 5 times a week, and there was basketball games and competitions and all that stuff, and the basketball games were always double headers. We would cheer for the women's and the men's. So with all-star cheer it was only about competing, and I'm pretty sure, I think we only practiced twice a week, so it was a smaller amount of commitment, and I was still able to focus on acting. And so I did a couple of shows my senior year. I did my thesis role, which if you're in a BFA program, you know that's like a super important role your senior year. They put a lot of pressure on it. And then there's also senior showcase, so that was also like added pressure. Then I did a second show at the end of my senior year, and then I graduated. And after that I had my show that I do every year. It's called GI60, the fundraiser, and it's always so much fun because there's no pressure, you know, and it always feels like I'm just doing what I love just to do it. That's it. And I loved GI60 so much because the first time I saw it, I remember thinking, I want to be on that stage so bad. It looks like so much fun. And then I reached out to the head of the program, who was the director, and I was like, hey, like if you need any help with GI60, I think I said something like, oh, like if there's any auditions or anything, please let me know. I would love to take part. And then she kind of told me that they already had a company for that year, so I was like, all right, well, if there's anything I can do to help, like let me know. And then I think it was the year after that, or it might have been that same year, I'm not sure. But she called me into her office one day, and I thought I was in trouble because I was always randomly in trouble. Like every time I thought I was doing good, like I would mess up somehow. But she called me into her office and she was like, hey, so like someone had to drop out because they got a gig, and you would be like the perfect person to fit into this role that we're missing now. I was so happy. I was like, oh my god, yes, like absolutely, this is what I want to do. And I got to do that show, and I was like, wow, I love acting. And then right after college, I got my first big girl job working at a hotel, and I was working full-time and auditioning like every week. And I ended up booking a show with one of the former actors from Brooklyn College who was directing a show, and that was so much fun, and that was the whole thing. I really only enjoyed acting when I was having fun. But as soon as it got hard, it was very hard for me to like push through. As soon as the workload was too much, it was very hard for me to be passionate about, and that should have been my first red flag, because with cheerleading, anytime it got hard, it motivated me to push harder. But mama didn't raise no quitter, so I kept pushing through and I kept auditioning, and I was just exhausted all the time because I wasn't motivated. I wasn't actually tired, you know. I was working full-time and auditioning a lot, but my workload was so much harder in college, and I was more exhausted after college because I didn't know it at the time, but I was doing something that I didn't want to be doing. And then I became a cheerleading coach, and it changed my perspective on everything. Once I started coaching, my whole life changed. I felt like I found my purpose. I was coaching these group of athletes, and I just saw so much of myself in them, and I was able to empower them in ways that I wish I would have been empowered when I was younger. And you know, I was doing it because my heart kept calling for it. No matter what happened in my life, I think I've quit cheerleading like 3 times, and I kept going back to it because I couldn't stay away. Like there was something that just kept calling me to it. And then once I became a coach, I really figured out why I kept being called to it. Then I ended up cheering for a couple of years. My last season, my last official season was 2019. I went to Worlds. Worlds was like this huge dream of mine that I had when I was younger that I never thought would have come true because I didn't know anybody that went to Worlds. No team from New York City had ever gone to Worlds, so like I just didn't think it would happen in my lifetime. I'm like, oh, maybe when I'm older and I have a daughter, like maybe she'll go to Worlds. But yeah, we did it. We went to Worlds. And that was like such a eye-opener for me because I was like, wow, like all it took was me leading my life with passion and purpose, and it made my dreams come true, like by accident. I worked so hard, but it didn't feel hard because it felt like it was exactly where I was supposed to be. And I wasn't doing it to please anybody else. I wasn't doing it for money. I wasn't doing it for my parents. I wasn't doing it to impress anybody. I was just doing it because it was where I felt like I had the most drive. It was where I felt like my voice mattered most. And I realized that when I told my professor that I liked acting because I could be a voice for others, I realized it was because I didn't feel like I had a voice for myself. But when it came to cheerleading, there is no greater sense of belonging that I could have had. Whew. Yeah, that is why I no longer do theater. It's still something that I love to do. However, it's not something that I see myself putting a lot of time into. And theater is something that if you want to do like professionally or for the rest of your life, like you really have to put your all into it. There is no half-assing it. Yeah, similar to cheerleading, like you can't be one of the best athletes, you can't be a world's athlete if you don't put your whole entire heart into it. And this entire lesson has really taught me to make sure that I put purpose into every single thing that I do, because you can accomplish so much more in your life if you just put your heart and so much love into every single thing that you do. So go and live your truth. I just ran out of storage, but what I wanted to say is make sure you're living your truth. Don't do things because you feel like you have to. Do things because your heart is telling you to do them, and everything else will unfold itself. And that's how you find your purpose in life, is just doing what feels the most right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you stayed till the end, you're really loyal. I hope you find your truth. I hope you find your purpose. Love yourself, love everybody around you, and everything will unfold. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, comment, and turn on my post notifications. It helps me out a lot. And hit the like button if you can. There's nothing left for me to say. I'll see you next time. Please watch my videos. Okay, bye.